One. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Do I still wait for the red light?
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming to the Human Rights Commission meeting of Thursday, January 25th, 2024. First up is our roll call. Elise, will you please do our roll call?
Commissioner Alidar, Commissioner Hubbard,
Here.
Commissioner Welbert,
Here.
Commissioner Gotti,
Here.
Commissioner Sanderson,
Here.
Commissioner LeSueur, Chair Carlson.
Here. Excellent. Thank you. We have a motion that, or excuse me, we have an agenda in front of us. And I'll call for a motion to approve the agenda. However, I would like to add 2 items to the agenda. And they would be under old business, and that would be hooked on books. And then, where would you suggest we put the Carver Community Connect update? Would that be a community partnership item?
That's where I would put it.
Okay, so we'll add that under community partnerships. Are there any other changes or additions to the agenda? Having heard none, may I have a motion to approve the agenda with those 2 additional items?
So moved.
Thank you, Hannah. A motion
Second.
made by Hannah, seconded by Jen. If there's no further discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Great, thank you. We don't have a guest presentation this evening. This is our official last meeting of 2023's commission. And so no guest presentations were scheduled. We do have the minutes of the December 21st meeting in front of us for approval. Are there any questions, comments, suggestions? I already said suggestions, changes, deletions, whatever.
I move to approve the minutes.
Thank you. A motion's been made by Jennifer. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Juhi. Motion made and seconded. If there's no further discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The treasurer's report. Can't wait to see the treasurer's report. What do we have, Elise?
All right. Well, you do have a few things already here in January. These are expenses related to the MLK Day event that have come in. I have additional probably $23 related to the event that has not yet been processed, and then another about $12 for the Community Connect that Chair Carlson will talk about in a little bit. So you'll see a couple new bills come through, but that's where we stand right now. Obviously, with the change in not having a guest speaker this year for the MLK event, that's typically where a lot of our costs for the event come in at. So this year the students didn't cost anything. So you see some savings this year for that.
Great. Are there any questions for Elise and our treasurer's report?
Had we budgeted last year's budget toward the speaker or this year's budget toward the speaker?
It typically comes in the year of the event.
Okay.
Because we don't pay until after they
Got it. Okay.
speak.
Any other questions? Excellent. Having heard none, may I have a motion then to approve the treasurer's report dated January 25th? Someone. Thanks, Jen.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Martin. So motion's been made and seconded. If there's no further discussion, all in favor of approving the treasurer's report dated January 25th, 2024, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes carry. Okay, well, Jennifer, a terrific MLK event. What's the good news?
It was terrific. I just wrote down some notes that, I'll start with a recap of the event. See, well, January 15th was Dr. King's 95th birthday, and there were about 115 people that braved the sub-zero temperatures to join us down at the event center to celebrate his life and legacy. So that was really exciting to see that even on such a cold day, we had such a great turnout. The Chaska High School speech team kicked off the event this year with an excerpt from the Keep Moving Forward speech that he gave at Spelman College. And many thanks to Pat Stieg, who served as our host at the celebration and kept things moving forward, like we were just talking about. And he shared some of his own personal journey about learning about civil rights and Dr. King. And I thought that was a nice addition to just have that kind of personal touch of what he's experienced. Our gratitude also extends to the Chaska High School's students organizing against racism, or SOAR. They provided a display of visual arts and poetry, as well as presenting excerpts from Caged Bird and Masked Fruiting. And then the students facilitated short table discussions about the readings. Next, Chair Carlson spoke about the annual Human Rights Award and recognized past recipients that were in attendance, as well as she introduced this year's nominees and described their contributions to the community. And finally, Chair Carlson announced and presented this year's awards to Mikasa and Marissa and Brad Nordling. And they both had some time to address the attendees and had some really powerful things to say, I think. And then the program concluded with a book giveaway for several lucky attendees, and that's always a hit. Our second year we've done that. And then I just wanted to share a few thoughts. The annual Martin Luther King Human Rights Celebration continues to be a highlight in my year. Committee members have received such positive feedback from those in attendance, and we appreciate hearing suggestions for how it can improve in years to come. The decision to highlight youth at this event was well received, as was our slight change in format, including a discussion portion rather than having a traditional keynote address. We also received comments appreciating the recognition of past recipients of the Human Rights Award and descriptions of how they were and are helping to advance human rights in our own community. I want to thank everyone who helped make this event possible, especially to the Human Rights Commission for hosting this community event every year. Thank you to Sarah and Elise, and to Pat Stieg, to Stacy Nelson Kumar, who has been a wonderful addition to our planning committee. She's a member of the community who has just really taken an interest and brought so much to helping us plan these events. I want to thank the Chaska High School speech team and the SOAR students, and Kevin Wright, who is always ready to help us with whatever we need. And to everyone who participated and continues to commit themselves to a better society for us all. So the planning committee would welcome your feedback and is ready to jump right back in anticipation for next year's event, which we probably should start planning soon. Do you want me to
Sure.
do this too before we open it up for discussion? Elise brought us this email that the commission received that is from Representative Lucy Ream. And she just said, hello and happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Thank you for the work that you're putting into organizing a successful Martin Luther King Day in Chaska. She was unable to attend the event this morning, but she was able to view it on the Chaska YouTube channel and appreciates how accessible this is for people to watch from the comfort of their home. So she congratulated the award winners and she looks forward to learning more about the work that we're doing in the coming months. So we can pass this around.
Sure. Well, great report, Jen. Thank you so much. Any additional comments? And I just want to point out the Chanhassen Villager had the Human Rights Commission, by all means, keep moving article on their front page. And here in Chaska, we had the same article on the back page as the final frame. So excellent publicity, I thought. And it has certainly inspired, I think, other communities within Carver County to think about forming their own human rights commission and or doing community celebrations that would honor many of the events that our commission does. So any comments? Suggestions, thoughts? Great job.
Well, and to you, it was so much fun and I really enjoyed having a change in the format this year. I think there's an important place to have keynote addresses where we can learn from different people who have had experiences in the civil rights movement or, different topics. But I really appreciated having younger perspectives come in and present things in a new way too.
Just for your information, our guest speaker who we had contacted, Ms. Tracy Gibson, became ill and was unable to be our keynote speaker. And so having the students with us this year, expanding their role in the program was just a great opportunity for us to feature their voices and to reach a different audience in Chaska. So I thought it was every program, we wish we would have done X, Y, or Z, but it was a great program again this year, and certainly appreciate the leadership and certainly the staff that Elise and Krista and Kevin all provided to us. It was much appreciated. We did.
I'm sorry.
Go
I
ahead.
thought of one more person or one more group to thank was Latino Voices made some wonderful posters about civil rights and just Black Americans throughout history that were just great that we had displayed at the event too.
The book selection, we purchased those books from last year's dollars that was allocated to us. I want to say the list included all of the books that were recommended to us. They featured, I believe, a good combination of young, early readers to adult readers. And there were a couple of books left over that were left behind, and they have been donated to our library here downstairs. So whether or not the commission and the subcommittee for Dr. King decides to do that again, we'll leave it up to those commission members. But an excellent job. As you can see by our have you seen these?
Yeah.
So, like I said, great job. Anything else, Jennifer?
I think that's all I have.
Great. Thank you so much again. Community partnerships. In December, we talked about approving a dollar amount for Hooked on Books. And I'm assuming that I should initiate a check request, or will our treasurer handle that?
I can go ahead and take care of that on behalf of the commission. I do need to get a W-9 from them, so in order to pay them, but
Okay,
I will work with them. I just wanted to make sure we were good to go before I initiated that, but since you approved it,
we approved the minutes, and I believe in the minutes, we talked about under item number 6, we approved, I thought, $100 from the 2024 budget towards the Hooked on Books event. So I think proceeding with that, a representative from the school did reach out to me and ask if we were still going to participate. And I indicated to them that we were, but we were not one of their major dollar donation people. But we certainly believed in what they were doing. So the event is on February 10th, which is before our next meeting that we'll meet. If you are available, it is a great event. I know that I have participated in the past, and it will probably follow the same format, but very exciting about their use of the Minnesota Department of Education new standards for learning targets about our indigenous populations. So if you have the time, if you have the energy, and you're available, by all means, a great event on February 10th, 2024. What is the time? The time is, I don't know the time, Martin, I'm sorry.
Elise,
I'm looking.
do you get, I was gonna say, could you send out like a flyer out? Since I don't have kids in school anymore, I don't get these flyers that tell me where to go and when.
And just so we don't violate anything, could you also post that potentially several Human Rights Commission members might be present?
Yes, we will do that. It is Saturday, February 10th, 9 a.m. to noon at Chanhassen High School.
You have to pre-register?
No,
Oh, okay.
no. Absolutely not. Okay. Yesterday, any questions about it? If you do have if you do have the opportunity to be there, please think about if the Human Rights Commission may consider any of those kinds of words, a more active participation in that event. I don't know, but they certainly appeal to us from our standpoint of promoting harmony and respect for the rights and dignity of all, particularly with literacy and celebrating Native culture. So please, if you do, think about that briefly and bring your thoughts to the February meeting. And you can kind of give an update as to what your thoughts are. Yesterday, Jennifer and I and Kevin Wright from the city of Chaska participated with us at the Carver Community Connect. This was an event held at the Community Events Center and had featured the services of, I'm sorry, I did not count, but that is not true. I can quickly tell you 50 vendors, 50 providers would be the better word, of health services, child and family, education and employment. They had a hair salon, winter coats, hats, gloves.
Legal.
legal
and, like,
opportunities,
driver's license.
driver's
birth
license,
Certificate.
birth certificates, the full gambit of information. Um, It was a great event. I told Jennifer, I think that we were the only table there that just provided, I mean, we didn't provide any direct services. We talked about us, the Human Rights Commission, and then communities of belonging, and how people could connect with us. And
We did a lot of listening.
we did.
We asked people, you know, what are some things where Chaska could, how could we make it a more welcoming and inclusive place to be? We got all kinds of answers and it was really great to just hear what people are concerned about, what they appreciate about the city. There was a woman who moved here a month ago and could not stop singing the praises of Chaska and how welcome she feels. And there were others who had some suggestions about things that we don't really have control over, but we can pass them along to places that do, which was, you know, they might not know another place to ask about that. And so I think with our connection with the city, we know who we can go to ask about some of those topics and things. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. Like you said, we heard some interesting stories. And were able to refer people to either the court system that was there. They had, I think, three attorneys there. Or refer them to mental health, which was across the aisle from us, or to the cab agency for other services. So it was a really great event. And I'm glad that we participated. Jen and I talked about the possible participation next year, or excuse me, this year again, I guess. They're thinking, this group is thinking about having another event like this sometime in 2024. I guess we'll have to see how busy we all are then as to whether or not we would want to participate again, or perhaps partnering with another actual service provider that is there to actually be a service provider as opposed to an information giver. We did have anti-discrimination forms available on the table from the Minnesota Department of Human Rights, just if people asked about those kinds of things. But I don't think anybody took any of those. But we had some, the brochures in English, Spanish, and Somali that were distributed, and some information about communities of belonging. So if you were downtown Chaska yesterday, the traffic was incredible. But a good event. Anything else you wanted to share about that?
No, just there was such good feedback there too about this is so helpful to have it all in one place and to have it be Carver County specific. There were people from, you know, Chaska, but other parts of Carver County too. And so that was really nice to see that they were able to get over here. This event was also fantastic because if someone wanted to come and they didn't have transportation, it would be provided for them. And so I'm not sure who did the transportation, are you?
I do not know.
I don't know.
But they were trying to eliminate as many barriers as possible so that everybody could attend that wanted to. And I think that most of them did because there were hundreds of people and it was an energetic and positive event. And I think a lot of people left knowing a little bit better where they needed to turn to find some resources they were looking for.
I think that one of the most popular tables was that which sat next to us, and that was a person from Carver County um, helping folks obtain their birth certificate. And while we were sitting there, there was a person, I overheard three incredible stories about where their birth certificate was and how they had lost it along their pattern, their challenges in life. And to have the form right there, it was notarized immediately. Folks could go then directly to Carver County on down 4th Street and obtain a copy of their birth certificate. I think that was incredible. And it reminded me of the stories that I heard during driver's license for all classes, was how difficult it was to get documentation, and how driver's license for all not only gives the opportunity for folks who don't have the immigrant status driver's license, but gives them the opportunity to have an identification card. And when you think about identification cards, just to go to the drugstore to pick up a prescription, or to pick up an antihistamine because you have a bad cold, requires identification. And if you don't have that, how important it was. So it just reminded me of the lessons that I learned during driver's license for all, and how important a basic birth certificate can have. So if you don't know where your birth certificate is tonight, when you go home, or those in our viewing audience, try to find that and make sure you put it in a safe location, because it is a very important document to have throughout your life. Hannah, you might even have some stories about that in your profession.
It's true. Keep it safe.
So good event. We'll see about next year or later on this year about participating in that event again. Anything else we want to talk about community partnerships?
Was there anything that you heard from folks that could inform our year? Feedback you got from people that stopped at the table?
There was interest when we talked about picnics. So I had put together a very quick photo little board of some of our events and included our pictures from the Pride picnic.
She did a beautiful job of it. It wasn't a little board, it was beautiful.
Thank you. And the other thing I heard was, and this came from other community members, asking, well, could we have you help us do a Human Rights Commission in Waconia, Chanhassen? And I think there was a person there from Shakopee who also said words like that. So I think that there is interest in other communities to have a Human Rights Commission. And certainly that's always encouraging to hear throughout our county. So that was good. Did you hear anything specific about?
Not real specific, like, they said, why aren't we having this or something? I did hear some people who said they were at one of the events or something and they had a great time, or they really enjoyed that we had, like things to do to bring the family to or whatever. So that was good to hear. But I don't think anyone gave us a specific ask about what we're missing.
No.
We did tell them we love to hear from the community to help us form our ideas for the year, of what we'd like to plan. So if they ever have an idea, please reach out to our website, and we gave them a flyer, and many people asked for a flyer of, can you, do you have something to tell me more about it, And we talked about like the City of Chaska Facebook page has all of our events, so they'll know about those and things, and check our calendar of events on the website. The other thing I would say about that event was it was cool to look around the room and see that so many organizations that were there were previous winners of the Human Rights Award.
Yes.
And
Thank you
they're
for
still
that.
going, and they're still making a difference in the community. And so I think that's really cool to see that.
That was great observation. I did see that when we were sitting there thinking, yes, and thinking about the people that, like Barb Colehap, a former member of the Human Rights Commission, who's no longer with us, but how proud she would have been to have seen that event, and know that Chaska, Carver County was doing something special. So the only other request that we heard, and I think it will come to us later on, or it will come to the commission certainly in February or March, was a request for funding. And this is for interesting communication, Spanish, English classes, possibility, purchasing materials, paying for one of the high school instructors to teach. We should get a proposal hopefully later on this month. And we'll certainly have it for the commission to consider in February.
Mhm.
Okay, great. Other communications?
No, the only communication I received was from Representative Brame.
That's great. Well, I will share with you one communication that I received, and this is from the AARP Foundation. They are offering free tax assistance. And although that you might not think that that's a human rights issue, it can very much be so. And so they've asked us to let folks know that they will provide free tax assistance here in Chaska at the Moravian Church, Mondays, February 12th through April 8th. And appointments are available in Waconia, in Shorewood, and in Chanhassen. And I'll leave this information with Elise, and she can have that posted on our Facebook page as an information. So great for that.
Or only for people that would qualify for AARP, like
No,
older people?
it's open to anyone that you would consider having a simple tax form.
I see.
If you have a lot of investments or properties or something, they don't do those there. But it's at the Moravian Church where my day job is. And so I'm pretty familiar with the program. And there are people that are young families all the way up to retirees that come. So you do need to make an appointment, but there's a phone number that we can give you, and the appointment line opens next week, and then the tax preparation starts in February, and it's a great program that's been there for years and years, and people come back each year, and it's just really, it's volunteer tax preparers that are trained for much of the year before they come in, so they know what the new tax codes are and stuff. It's not just volunteers from the church or something, or retirees that have free time. I mean, these are trained preparers, so it's trustworthy, and it's a really great program that helps a lot of people.
And
And-
certainly applies to folks who are renting and of course own their own homes.
Mhm.
So,
And I have that electronically. I can send
Perfect.
to you.
Yes, if you can do that, we can get it up on our page.
Do you know, Jen, if they have interpreters or not?
I don't know that they provide them.
You'd have to bring your own maybe.
I think that's a really good question, though.
we can reach out to the
Yeah,
AARP people.
I have a number that I can contact someone to find out more information
Maybe
about that.
Mi Casa or Latino Voices could like partner and.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, you host it.
There was a person at the Carver Community Connect who came to us and said, I speak Russian. And so if someone comes to your table and asks for information, please, and you cannot talk with them, please come and get me. I'll be happy to talk. So I believe she probably visited every table and shared that information. So that was a great opportunity to be able to reach as many people as we possibly could. Are there any other community partnerships that we need to talk about? Okay. Let's move on then to the 2024 calendar. Several of us have had appointments to be interviewed by city council because our terms have ended, or will end, I should say,
Tonight.
after tonight. So I am unsure, and those announcements for new appointees will not be made until February. So don't know exactly what we should talk about in terms of our calendar for next year, but I can just give you some highlights. Let me get my highlights page out. Oh, no. I don't have my highlights page. But I can certainly begin
The
with
back page of your
Yes.
packet is.
the back page. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Elise. Is our schedule for 2024. I think Jen will certainly be here in February because her term will continue on. But in February, a couple of things that we'll want to think about if we are reappointed are what kinds of committees do we want to work on? And those of us who've been on the commission kind of know what it is that we're looking at doing. We're thinking about adding a couple of new events, whether or not they're social media opportunities or actually physically planning an event, an activity. We'll decide that when the committees get back together in February. So, but for sure, February 22nd, will, some of us, maybe all of us will be back in this room. But if not, I guess this is my opportunity to say thank you to each of you for making 2023 such a wonderful year. I had the opportunity to give a presentation to City Council on Monday night of this week, talking about each of our events, highlighting our partnerships that we formed over the year, how those circumstances came to be, how we, I think, broadened our engagement into our community. Certainly very thankful for each of you for your contributions that made 2023 such a terrific year. We received high praise from the members of the City Council. If you choose to, of course, you can see that presentation on the community television, YouTube, I believe. And you can hear for yourself the thoughtful remarks that the council members made about our work. And it was it was very encouraging to me. Martin was part of the audience. Thank you for joining and being here and supporting. Do you have anything you wanted to say?
I think it was a great presentation. It was a great job. She represented us well. I'll just reiterate what she said. City council seemed to be very happy with what we were doing and excited to see what the future brings. So hopefully we all come back and
Yeah.
it has been a pleasure being on this committee with all of you. So I appreciate that in case you don't see me next month. At least on this side, I don't be out there. But
Martin and I will just sit in the.
Great. And the other important thing I just want to reiterate is the people who we connect with in our community. Jennifer mentioned earlier, Stacy Nelson Kumar.
Kumar, yeah.
And her involvement with the Dr. King celebration. And although, can I announce anything about one of the commissioners not returning next year or this year?
Yeah.
Okay, Commissioner Haga will not be returning, but her intention is to continue to work with us, or work with the commission, I should say, in developing the Pride Picnic event. To both both the present award winners this year of the Human Rights Award have indicated their interest in participating with us in events throughout the year. So all very exciting. And that's just really, we're working, we're building that network of folks that support what we're doing, and very appreciative of their interest in us and how we can continue to grow the Human Rights Commission. So yes. So quickly looking at the calendar that's on the back page of our packet. You can see that we've got women's recognition scheduled for March. Asian and Pacific Islander recognition that we're focusing on perhaps in the month of May, that on the diversity calendar that the city of Chaska posts that we helped create. That event, or excuse me, that month is identified as recognizing Asian and Pacific Islanders. Our June 22nd, that date has been set for the Pride celebration. River City Days, our commitment to be there. I'm looking forward to having another Jeopardy game because that was pretty exciting, but hey, whatever the commission chooses to do. Cultural Heritage Month, gosh, we had a terrific program with African Celebration, didn't we? That was an awesome event. And so much fun. So we'll see what that develops as. October, again, we want to, at the very least, or at the very minimum, acknowledge our native population and the tribes that continue to thrive in our community. So hopefully we can make avenues with certainly the Mdewakanton Sioux across the river from us. We want to expand veteran acknowledgement, and then anything else that comes along the way. We hope to have a pretty creative and exciting program for 2024. And of course, regardless of whether or not we're back in February, I encourage you to think about our calendar as we've laid it out. If you have thoughts, suggestions, recommendations, if our viewing public, of which I know there are hundreds, looking at us this very evening, if you have ideas about how we can help create and expand and promote and encourage and make Chaska a place where we are valued valued, then please let us know. Send us email or reach out to any one of the city staff. Anything else about that? I bet you're looking at that next one, 7B, and saying, what are we going to talk about?
I'm excited to see.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay, so this was one of the questions that came up. Certainly last month when we were talking about, it certainly has, Jen, I think you are our most tenured person on the commission. So you probably have some thoughts about how is it that the Human Rights Commission determines who receives the Human Rights Award? And would it be helpful if we had some measures to evaluate each of the nominees that we receive? And so that question was raised, we talked about it briefly in December. After the awards were presented in January, somebody from the audience, after the Dr. King celebration, asked me, how do you make that choice? Because all of the people that you spoke about who were nominated were terrific, and they are. They're so significant in Chaska. And so is that something that we want to move forward on? And I think Elise may be working on something like that for us.
That's correct. I think there was some commentary after the award was selected by this group about it from some commissioners to me, as well as at the event itself. So I am starting to draft things, but I would like input into what you would like to see in a draft, if that is something you choose to go towards.
I think it could be helpful to help us narrow down based on certain criteria. But I also have seen all the nominees over the years, and I think every year is so unique in the nominees that we receive, that we consider, that there's just a lot of nuance in there too. And where we are as a community at that point, and what effect certain organizations or individuals have had based on what's going on at that time. But I do think that having like kind of a rubric to kind of base things on would be helpful. I don't have any specific ideas for you right now, but I will definitely think about it and let you know when I come up with anything.
And we have time too, right? I mean, you don't review these to December. It would be good to have it before then, so you have some idea but it was just something that was top of mind. And as you reflect on, that selection that was made last month.
And that's not to minimize the selections at all,
No.
or to minimize the nominees that we did take a look at, because I said each one of the individuals that were nominated certainly deserve recognition and our sincere community thanks for the work that they do. But this might be a tool that will help the commission in the future. And so it seems like if all of us come back to this table in February, then that's something that we can work on. And like Elise said, we've got quite a few months. Of course, that means that December will come like in March or something, but nevertheless, it is something that I think would be helpful for us.
And I agree. I mean, I think, as we look back at the nominees from this year, we really had a difficult time trying to decide on a winner. We ended up going with two because we had such a difficult decision to make. And any one of those nominees could have been one of our winners. And so I think having a little guidance in making our decisions could be helpful to us.
Yeah.
I can second all of that. I would like us to start looking at the nominees a little earlier, maybe October, November, and I'll give some meetings to talk about it. And I think we should engage the people who have been nominated so they can go into depth about what they did, as opposed to someone saying, well, I don't know, Fred fed the homeless. I don't know. Instead, Fred started this nonprofit and Fred has done this, and this. Does that make sense? So we get more information. But
I think that's a good idea. And I think sometimes it's helpful to think about, like, maybe we can't, like, we don't want to necessarily make it a numbers and like how many people were impacted by it. Like sometimes it's really a good thing to highlight people that are doing small things in their communities that are making an impact. And so, but maybe instead thinking about like our priorities or our values, and we can speak to like how each person kind of fits into that priority or value, and kind of look at it as a whole, like, yeah, like I guess now we have to come up with what those things are. But I think that might be a little bit easier and more flexible as we're thinking about selecting a nominee. It's not just like, yeah, a kind of ranking system, I suppose.
Absolutely. So our next Human Rights Commission meeting is February 22nd. Same location here at City Hall. And again, I just want to thank each of you for helping 2023 be so successful in our work, engaging, building relationships, mentoring. It's been a pretty exciting year. And so I certainly look forward to all of us coming back, but we'll see. So any other announcements, actions that we should take into consideration this evening? Oh, one other thing. Jen and I wore our blue t-shirts yesterday. I had numerous remarks. I think was it you who gave us the blue color? I think so. So I had several people tell me that is such a beautiful color. So thank you. I immediately thought of you yesterday when I heard the first time, oh, that's so good. What color is that? And I said, I don't know. I don't know if it's teal. It's not navy. It's maybe it's sky on a sunny day in Chaska. But so yes, our t-shirt color is a hit also for 2023. Yeah. So any other announcements? Things that we should consider? We've got until, all night long. Martin's been on duty all day today. Thank you for serving our community.
Hi, many folks.
If not, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved. Is there a second? Motion made by Juhi. Excellent. All in favor by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes carry. Thank you so much.